This is Mike Ramos from Your Car Dealer Bond, and thanks for listening to another episode of the Your Car Dealer Podcast. This is a bonus episode. I figure I'd do this just to give you guys a little more content. It's a really seasoned veteran of the game that's been doing this a long time and probably talked to thousands of dealers. Teresa from Your Car Dealer Bond is going to be joining us in just a bit. Just wanted to thank you guys again. None of this is possible without you guys, so tell a friend. By all means, Your Car Dealer Podcast, we're going to be dropping nothing but interesting, relevant knowledge that would make sense to a car dealer, used car dealer. Mostly, there's going to be some stuff that's going to be, obviously, there's going to be crossover. If you're motorcycle, travel trailer, motorhome dealer, truck dealer, that there's crossover there and all the things that we're talking about. But we're talking all things to used car dealers. You guys take care out there. What, on this particular bond or on bonds in general, or what? Which
bonds? Because I go, I thought you were probably calling me about Central Cars, Central Cal Auto Sales, and she goes, no, this is about Salute something. And then I said, oh, and then she goes, but it could be anyone. She goes, we are totally losing it. Sacramento is out of control, she said.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise. That's always been consistent. The DMV is never great about what they do, but it seems like even more pronounced than ever. It seems like they're dropping the ball in any which way you could possibly imagine. And
yeah, it's frustrating for her. She said that they're constantly telling them, well, the sureties told us that they sent it to Sacramento. And they're like, well, what do they do about it? So then they're reissuing. She said that most surety companies will not do direct to them. That they always say, our responsibility is to Sacramento, not to the field offices.
Right.
And so she says that they're really caught in between. And I said, well, for the most part, our guys, if we send direct reinstatements to you guys or renewals, we send them copies just for this sole purpose.
Right.
To assure you that they're okay.
Well, yeah, and then they have a wild hair up their tailbone because they're saying, well, we don't accept the copy. Once they get it, then they want to play like they're God and tell everybody that they don't. That's not what they accept, and to rebrandish a brand new original bond for them or a reinstatement notice or whatever it is, and there's where the rubber.
Really nice. That was the one that you gave me earlier.
Yeah. No, she's. I bless some of their hearts because some of them. I had the other one the other day telling me that she really didn't care. She didn't know it. She told me she didn't know anything about bonds. And our extension, the extension that we had given them, not we, but the carrier had given them, was like their expiration should have been on, let's just call it 1/1. Well, they gave them till 1/5. And this lady said, well, now your reinstatement notice says that it's reinstating as of 1/5. Yeah, that's when the cancellation notice is, right? Yeah, but this bond was originally in effect 1/1. And it expires 12 months later. No, it doesn't expire 12 months later. It expires a day on your notice of cancellation. She's like, I don't know anything about bonds, but, it is what I say it is. Like, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I bet that works really well in your world. But anyway, who cares?
Yeah. It's really hard because, sometimes these guys are the culprit to begin with.
Agreed.
And then, they're just so, descuidados. They don't realize, oh yeah. Like 2 people asked Renee. They expired in November 1.
Yeah.
And they're coming back and saying, can we renew our bond? I'm like, dude, you're like 3 months late.
Yeah, I get those calls too, and God knows that some of these guys are kind of I don't know what they expect. I think they expect it because they are really fast talking, quick with the tongue and everything else, that they normally are able to talk themselves in and out of situations. And I think that they think that life in general should always work like that. And I think that there's some spots that they find themselves in, because they seem confused a lot of times. It's like, what? They won't backdate this bond 4 months? What are you talking about? Why wouldn't they do that? It's like, are you serious? You really honestly think that they should do that? And they're like, well, why wouldn't they?
I think that they don't understand the liability.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right.
Understand the liability, because the one that I was schooling yesterday, I told him, you speak Spanish, right? He's all like, because he was having a hard time in English. I told him, he was saying this makes his mortgage payment, this does that, even though he has a real job. And I said, well, then why would you be so careless about it?
Yeah.
If something was that meaningful, important to your livelihood, he goes, how am I supposed to buy and sell cars? And I go, guess what? They're going to want you to get relicensed.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the nature of the beast sometimes, I guess, when they get caught up into so many different things that they're dealing with. And God knows it's some of that, I think, is that I think whoever's selling them the dream at the beginning they never really, none of us really know what gets into business, what you have to do to keep a business floating for the first 10 years or so until you're actually in the weeds with it, unless you went to business school, which 99% of our customers did not. Even this industry,
not even us,
I would say not even in this industry. That not just our customer, just the whole industry as a whole probably hasn't gone to business school to then turn around and flip cars in California or something. I think it's much different than that for a lot of these guys. And if that's what they're, then they're having to cut their teeth on a lot of these processes. It's like, I didn't realize taxes were that much, and payroll taxes were that much, and these workers' comp, where now I'm out of compliance because I don't have. They're now forcing me to have dealer insurance because I'm getting a line of credit through Manheim or through the whatever financing arm they're using. And they start to get into these positions where it's like, God, I really didn't realize it was going to be an extra X amount of dollars, and they need certain software to operate the business. And you turn around and a year later you're in on all these extra expenses, and they're not, some of them are only $50, 75, 100 here, 200 there, and then you just figure, I'll just sell an extra car, and eventually it kind of it almost turns out to be like a musical chairs, where eventually once it stops,
they're robbing from Peter to pay Paul, and it's really sad. Here, the guy that you sent me over in the morning, that
okay,
I'm actually going to put him in the system, although he already told me it's not going to be under his name. I'm going to let you talk to my wife. When she comes in, she'll call you. He didn't like me asking questions about this.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what about your credit? Are you good with your credit? Oh, yeah, credit and money is no object, but none of it's under my name. It's going to be under my wife's name, so I don't know. I'll tell her to call you then. They're like, wow.
Yeah, some of the stuff gets so dicey, and who's what, and the technicalities of what they're... And geez, from our perspective, we can never really tell what they're up to necessarily. I mean, they tell us what they want to tell us, and they lead us down any certain path they want to lead us down, and we're just...
He wouldn't tell me anything until I started speaking Spanish to him.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
And then he was all like, ay, gracias a Dios porque ya estaba fallando mi inglés. He goes, no tengo mucho inglés, ay, mejor te lo digo en español. Sí, pues hay una quejita. Sí, pero ya se va a resolver. Like, no big deal, the claim, whatever.
Right.
And he goes, y tenía otra problemita y ya parece que por fin no me quiere renovar la agencia. So I was like, gee, 2 in 1 year. I wonder why.
Yeah, well, there you go for all our bilingual.
Very honest in Spanish, but very, very cautious in English.
Yeah, well, there you go for all our bilingual podcast listeners. They'll get to hear it in both languages. Anyway, yeah, I mean, one of the bigger things I wanted to really make sure that we do on this segment is really to talk about maybe some of the issues, kind of from the upfront guys, because I know there's a lot of guys that are listening to this thing that just started the business maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months, 3 months, 6 months ago, and they're just getting going. Maybe they're just getting started. We see them again a year in. So we see these guys before they ever start the business, as most of you guys will know. When you bought your bond, they'll associate with when they bought that in the grand scheme of when they were actually licensed versus when they
could be months down the road.
Yeah, versus when they started attending auctions and perhaps even when they sold their first car. And depending on how many plates they had spinning at the time or how focused they were on this particular business, a lot of times I see that to be a big kind of, if I had to list what I generally feel my top 2 things that I notice, that if you just over the 1 year span, you look at the 1 year, first year to 0 to first year, and if I had to really put my finger on all the hundreds of dealers we've seen go by the wayside in that first year over the last 8 years, I'd have to put my finger on probably 2 things. One is how tight they are. Like, they just didn't budget that this business would cost as much as it's going to cost, and so they didn't budget the right amount of money. So now they're nickel and diming things that they probably shouldn't nickel and dime, like not protecting their lot, not getting dealer management software if they're a retail company or a retail dealership.
All of that is their vision coming in. They think that their feat has been. They think that their victory, their feat has been becoming a dealer, but it's not. It's being a successful one.
Yeah.
And how do you protect the growth that you want to be able to not double think about or think about? You do it like from the beginning. That's your vision. That's your plan. If you don't have that clear vision with planning involved, with all the incidentals that could come up, those are the people that can't be successful because it's too cutthroat. It's too, for the small, ma and pa sole proprietor, it's so competitive, and they don't realize that.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely know that they're not seeing that part of it. They don't see what's going to come around the corner. And it's hard because you don't know what you don't know. And until you kind of get into some of these things, you don't realize that every time you sell a car, this is the paperwork that comes around, or this is the expense that you didn't really think about when, because it's tough because when they're going to go get licensed, and I've heard this from several dealers, when they go get licensed, they're going to go get that they're doing that test and they're doing their pre-licensing education. They're being taught how to pass the test. They're being taught some basic mechanics of, the car dealer business. But I think in general, it's more, here, memorize this because you're going to get a test on it. And ultimately, you want to make sure you pass this test. Here are a few things you're going to kind of need to know in general to run your dealership. But really, the main stuff that they're going to need to know and need to be able to, kind of see the forest from the trees day in, day out. Nobody's teaching them that. Who's teaching them that? they're going off of what their uncle told them in the business, or what they might have picked up here and there from working at a dealership. But you never see the whole story from that perspective. Or they're listening to these guys at the auction, where those guys, you know, what are you learning from the guys at the auction besides just kind of the bigger main, you know, broad strokes? They're not getting into the details of every little expense on where it goes. Shit, half of them don't even know, you know, their own little tiny little minute details of the figures and how it all runs together and all that stuff. But I don't know how all that. I think I see that first year they didn't. Their vision wasn't aligned properly with the budgeting, and they didn't build enough of a cushion in. And now they're nickel and dime. So it's really that they're nickel and diming everything. The good ones are doing it because of the reason I just say. The other ones are just tight. And they're just
survival.
Yeah, they're just like guys, such tightwads in general. Like these guys could be almost millionaires, and they would still be pinching pennies and recycling cans. And just kind of their general philosophies is like they're tight about everything, no matter what. I wouldn't even say tight. I would just say short-sighted, where it's much more that they're short-sighted about everything. What? This is going to cost X amount of dollars? Well, when do I get to see that return? Within a month? Within 2 months? Like, there's constantly that kind of back and forth push. I see that a lot as kind of a big reason for them not getting off the ground or kind of sputtering around. I see that probably more than anything. And that's kind of hollowed out the middle of the industry. And I told this to probably 3 different people in the last 2 months that all worked for like large insurance companies that write this stuff, or are heads of carriers, the bond carriers I've talked to about this. And it's almost like the middle is being hollowed out a little bit, where there's these really successful ones on one side of it, the Beverly Hills car clubs, the Evan Paul Motorsports, and the some of these others that are really ultra successful. And then there's the other ones that are just on the bottom of the bed. There's almost none that are doing pretty good. Not, but they're pretty good most of the time, really good, but they're pretty good. It's either great or just scraping by the skin of their teeth. And it's kind of a terrifying thing to see, because as a whole, that's not what you'd want to see. A little bit of middle class there, right? And just over the time, I've noticed that it's just kind of crippling them little by little, and eventually it's just like they've been drinking poison for a little bit too long, and it finally just puts them over the edge, whether it's year 1, year 2, or year 5, and they can stick around for a little while because they had enough friends and maybe, support from the community. But it seems like 9 times out of 10, what the culprit is of these guys having trouble is them not getting that upfront kind of vision in place, to put things in place, to budget the right way.
I think it's scary to them, like the dealer management system.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think it's kind of scary to them.
Agreed.
Like, oh my God, I'm not good at electronics, and you know what I mean?
Yes,
That's not
do.
my forte. I'm good at like cleaning up the cars, and I could make it look cherry. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We think that strength is gonna overpower and be more meaningful than the other.
Well,
and the industry is so quickly shifting the other way.
Yes, and I will tell any listener out there, and I think I mentioned this, but we had over 600 downloads of this podcast in January 2019. So there's definitely some folks listening out here, and what I would say is, I know you guys are out there because I've talked to you guys too, and even me. I mean, we're personally, I would say this, we're changing our personal infrastructure, our own agency management system. You guys have dealer management system, and it's daunting to get started with one out of the gate, or as you have an existing business already, maybe a year old or 2 years old, and now you're going to get the software. As much as that's a tough proposition and it's a heavy lift, it's a lot heavier lift when you're migrating data, 8 years worth of data from one system to the next, everything's got to connect right. All the moving pieces got to be moving in the right direction. And if they don't, it doesn't work.
And that's why I say, like, even for us, when we started with bass, I was so opposed to Hawksoft. It seemed like such an overwhelming nuisance. You like what's familiar. You like what seems easiest. And yet you don't understand that it has features built into the system that's going to save you time in the long run.
Yeah.
We could not have the same accessibility. We could not have as much administration come out of this system, Hawksoft. We could have never expected that from bass.
Yeah. Yeah, now that we're moving over to, well, not moving over to, but looking at some other, so now there are limitations that we have in Hawksoft now that aren't present in some of this other software we're looking at. And damn it, if we would have, been able to see some of this stuff at that point. But then again, at that point, a lot of that's, certain things like Salesforce were way too new. It was way too expensive.
Right. It didn't mean anything at that point.
Yeah,
That's
now it does.
You evolve.
Yeah.
And your evolving will cause you to necessitate a different growth with you. And see, that's the part that these guys are having a problem with, because they're barely seeing themselves as dealers.
Yeah.
Much less trying to see, where they're supposed to be. I use this little guy for we're not on, are we?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I say this a small dealer, say, with not a lot of capability for using a computer. He barely uses his cell phone. He doesn't even have a fax, or he doesn't have anything to process and get his emails out, much less, he's got to solicit one of his children, his grown children, to do that part for him. It's hard for them to see themselves 5 years from now. And now I've got to keep track of a lot of stuff. I've got to keep track of stuff that DMV is calling me back about. DMV, who is so inept themselves, now they're calling me, or guess what? I have a claim, and I can't even remember that person, what I sold. If I have a Carfax system, then, that system helps me keep everything clear.
Yeah.
Where my memory will fail. I can put notes in there and remember, it's just, we never saw ourselves here. They can't see themselves this far in the future where they see themselves using it, because probably these guys started with a pen and pencil, a notebook pad.
Oh yeah, I bet.
They took that notebook pad to auction with them.
Yeah.
And then they brought it back, and then they started stuffing their notebook with, DMV paperwork, filed, unfiled, and that's the extent of them. Maybe they do have a good filing system, but guess what? Those old-time filing systems are not current for this year.
Yeah. Oh, 2019, you think that's kind of the way that it works? Yeah.
I can't even file my income tax the way I used to.
Yeah, things have changed. That's for sure.
Yeah, things have changed. So this industry, has evolved. Probably in the last 5 years especially. With the amount of claims, with the amount of dealers saturating the industry, many of whom are even monolingual or almost, a bilingual group. all of that has had such an influence on this industry. But, you know, this is where we come in. We seem to be able to keep our finger on, you know, kind of on the pulse of a lot of the entities that are involved in making this industry. We keep kind of abreast of what's happening with DMV, whether it's good news, bad news. We somehow are still affiliated with the schools that teach. We still are affiliated with sub-producers who are out there trying to sell, you know, even bonds and to this industry. We still have quite a few dealers that come back to us on a usual basis, and they keep us informed as well. You know, this is what's happening out here. So we say all of that to say, if you have questions, come back to us. It's not like you can go back to Motorsports Market and ask them, and it's not like you can go back to, you know, the auction and say, gee, I'm growing leaps and bounds, help me. You can come back to YCDB. We sold you the bond, but guess what? We want you. We have a vested interest in you, I would say, to want to help you grow. You know, certainly, you know, at the end of a new year, everybody's got plans and a vision for the future, for the next year at least. At least 1 year plan, if not a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. You know, maybe you started as a sole proprietor. Now you want to move into becoming a corporation or filing for LLC status. All those things will cause a change in your bond and in the way that you're doing business. You know, we can prepare you and tell you DMV is going to shut down your old MDV license and give you a new one. And all of that can trail if you do this properly. You know, so all of these changes are great, and they're meaningful to you. They're meaningful to us to help you do them. You're either increasing your business, or maybe you bit off too much than you can chew, and you're going to, you know, cut back. And that decrease may say, you know, well, I'm not going to do retail, I'm going to do wholesale. You know, I'm already at retirement, and this is the only thing I want to do now. We can help you facilitate that move, whatever it is for the new year. This is a good time for you to kind of get your arms around what it is you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it, and include us in that move so that we can help you. Time is money in this industry. If you have to keep backtracking with DMV, it causes you to have a lot of downtime. And probably stop sales in the meantime. So what we want to do is help you streamline your business so that you have a limited, you know, downtime and you can be up sooner. Is really what we want to say to you this year. You know, we love hearing your success story. You guys are an inspiration to us. We work usually Monday through Friday, but you guys are out there beating the pavement 7 days a week. You know, this is a, 7-day-a-week event for you guys. Where we may take a good vacation, you guys are working holidays almost. You know, so we really are inspired by you. So whatever we can do to help you and become more successful, let us know. If we don't have those answers, give us the opportunity to try and find it for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. This has been a kind of a weird thing in that every year we have to sift through the good, the bad, the ugly. We have to sift through these claims that end up happening, and that's after the business is closed. Here come the claims because somebody got stiffed along the way. Then we've got the good, where we're hearing the success stories, and I think that's kind of what you're talking about, is that hearing these success stories, man, sometimes you go a long time without hearing one, and all you hear about is another dealer went out of business here, another dealer's about to go out of business here, another one's has a claim and he's in the middle of this one, another one's got a claim and he's probably going to be shutting down shop, so we can expect a few more. And God knows some of these may end up being unpaid claims because that bond gets tapped out pretty quickly. So it's like hearing some of the some of the good feedback, I think, and a lot of times really goes a long way, at least for morale purposes around here. So I think I definitely know what you're saying there.
Yeah.
And we just went live on Instagram, by the way. Teresa, this is Teresa from Your Car Dealer Bond. This is Mike from Your Car Dealer Bond talking to Teresa from Your Car Dealer Bond. So if some of you guys have, any you guys checking in, you guys definitely know who you're hearing from here. One more thing, if you had to give vision, if you had to give one more morsel to the group here, if you had to give one more thing for everybody to keep in mind, all the dealers out there looking to really take 2019 in a different direction, get to a different plateau than they were able to get to in 2018 or 17, what would be that if there would be one thing that you leave them with, and we'll make this a routine that we get into, and we give out some good answer some questions, give out some good things from our perspective. But if there's one thing that you can think of off the top of your head, what do you think it'd be?
To fulfill the vision, I would say clarity. Spare no expense for that. There's never enough planning. Plan. Success doesn't happen overnight. The more you think about it and you're willing to hear, I would say get a mentor. Many times the difference between a dealer who's kind of isolated in this industry versus a dealer that maybe can bounce things off of another dealer who's been successful. Find yourself a successful mentor. Somebody who's weathered this industry for 20 years. They can tell you a thing or two. And don't come from a competitive thing. Just kind of allow that person to take you under their wing and say, look, this is kind of what you want to do. Keep a reserve, keep a good vision, know where you're going, have a 1 year, have a 3 year, have a 5 year plan, know exactly how to extend yourself in a way that's even, because there is so much competition, you want to be able to get the best kind of financing. You want to be able to offer that to your clients, because if you can offer good financing, you can have more clients. You want to have a good backup system to keep all your records straight, so then, it kind of just helps you be prepared for the worst. So I would really say, if I was in this industry and I was a salesperson, if I was a retailer, I would find myself a good mentor and somebody who I could really be able to call in a good time and in the bad time, and just kind of trust that person's judgment. And I would say in this industry, more than probably other industries, I would say honesty is always your best policy. It may not seem like it when you're having to refund or you're having to bend over backwards for somebody, but you know what? We do the same thing with our dealers. It may not feel good to have to bend over to some guy who's, you feel like he's reaming you kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's a payoff. In the end, it's a payoff. In the end, just because you're the squeaky wheel, I don't want to feel like I'm just, giving into that. But you know what? By the same token, sometimes those squeaky wheels can bring you back some people. We've been shocked when we say, wow, we thought that guy would never refer us anybody. But it's kind of the same thing. Your clients are your livelihood. So, if you have to do that to prevent a claim, to prevent somebody from, talking bad out there sometimes about, their treatment of how they felt that they were treated at your dealership, you just want to try to alleviate all of that. Be honest. Be transparent. Get a mentor. Spend whatever it is that you need to spend to help your vision come to pass. It's got to come to fruition somehow. And sometimes that's money, it's education, or getting a mentor. Being extra, on top of your clients. Maybe that follow-up call after they've had their car. How's your car running? Do you need any floor mats? How can I help you? Free car washes. It's just, those things go a long way. And that's why we started doing follow-up with our bonds. We have a customer service rep. Once we sell that bond, we don't want you to think we forgot about you. Oh yeah, they just want my money. No, we appreciate the premium, but we also want you to feel that you were appreciated. And guess what? That you're important. And let us know what you need. So you don't have to wait for renewal time. You can call. You can call any one of us, and we're busy, but we will return your call. If you lose our number, call our call center. We always try to make ourselves available to you guys.
And the call center is?
I'm sorry?
And the call center number is?
I'm not sure.
866.
And shout that out.
866-357. 866-357-4405. It's 866-357-4405 is the call center number. If you guys get questions, you guys got concerns, there's a situation brewing, whatever it is, keep us posted. Even if it has nothing to do with the dealer bond, I mean, we're answering a ton of questions every day. And yeah, definitely no problem with that. You know what, the mentor thing, that's interesting, because on one hand, they definitely need one. You don't always have to have a mentor in this business. I'm noticing now more than ever, whether it's, let's just call him Marcus Limones, right? Or let's say the Bard John Taffer, right? These are guys that don't necessarily have a big background. Necessarily, I know Marcus Limones, he's the guy from Camper World, so he's got a lot closer connection, but I bet you money you could get John Taffer to walk into a car dealership and could start overhauling that business plan pretty quickly to improve it, because he understands business mechanics, he understands what you're trying to accomplish.
Sales, marketing, he understands it all.
Exactly.
Yes. Those are the valuable people. If you don't have that kind of fruit on your tree, you need to go pick it someplace.
Yeah, and I just know that it's tough for most of these dealers, because a lot of them are in each other's backyards, so how much they actually want to divulge is one thing, and then how do you connect with the guy on the other side of the state that's doing really well? How do one of our dealers connect with Beverly Hills Car Club? They're the people that matter over there, that really know what's going on, aren't going to take their call typically to answer how they're doing things. But yeah, I do think that there's a way to achieve this mentor piece without having to take to your 10th year to try to figure that out.
Oh no, you need to see. I put myself in. Okay, I just heard about this one dealer. He does wholesale, and not even in the state of California. He does his business in Arizona.
Yeah.
So he's living in Modesto. He's operating in Arizona. Obviously, there's somebody doing the day-to-day there. But he's going to be branching off into L.A. And here's what he said. I found this guy at the auction, and we started talking. And one thing led to another. We went to breakfast. We went to whatever. Come to find out, this guy's been in the industry forever. I'm going to wait it out, 4 or 5 months, and then I want to collaborate with him.
Yeah.
So it does happen.
Yeah.
And the camaraderie is what kind of brings them together. And where does that happen? Sometimes at the auction.
Yeah, for sure. No, I've seen it there too. A lot of times,
yeah.
That's where those connections are
remember,
made.
we used to do tours on the auction.
Oh, yeah.
We used to go from auction to auction up and down the state, and that was back in the day. It was kind of fun to see. I had never really, seen that part of it, and so you do see a lot of camaraderie. You do see, a wealth of different people from almost, some guys are selling only online, some guys are, you know what I mean? It's auto brokering, it's wholesaling, it's, there's just such a wealth of dealers there. If you can strike up a conversation, or if you can meet vendors out there while you're there, that's what you want to do, Use what you got. Like I said, if your tree's not producing that fruit, you got to get it someplace.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, there you go. We're about 40 some minutes into this thing. I wanted to keep it somewhat short and sweet. Just a couple of quick questions, quick points, and pull us into next week here. This is just kind of a bonus episode that I think every week or so we'll have some kind of intelligence on this, and we'll kind of just go down these little rabbit holes of where we're seeing some challenges, where we're seeing some of these guys, kind of triage their efforts. Where's that arbitrage you're going to find in your business? Where is it that you're going to find that little piece of your business that you're going to be able to leverage into something that's really meaningful? We're going to help you guys dive down into it. You guys can chew the meat, spit out the bones. We've already, over the last, for me, it's been about 15 years in and out of auctions and in conversation and out of conversation with a plethora of dealers in every aspect you could possibly imagine. And there's interesting information that we're going to continue to get into based on some of those conversations that we've either had, that we're having, or that we're getting in terms of some of the questions. So if you guys have questions, feel free to send them to mike@yourcardealerbond.com, mike@yourcardealerbond.com. And questions, if you want to give us a call, our call center, 24/7's 866-357-4405. You can reach out to us on Instagram. Check out Your Car Dealer Bond. It's going to be there on Instagram. It's the same on Facebook. It's the same on Twitter. Your Car Dealer Bond on Pinterest. You can find us, the Your Car Dealer Podcast, and we've got a bunch of videos even. If you went to Your Car Dealer Bond on YouTube, you're going to find a ton of different videos on a litany of subjects that are specific to car dealer, how car dealer insurance and car dealer bonds are different, and just going a wide variety of different things, that all things to all car dealers. And Teresa, obviously, thank you for putting it out.
For letting me share for a minute and kind of put on a different cap here, but totally enjoyed it, and I look forward to maybe doing another segment in the future.
Beautiful. As a matter of fact, think of a one of these segment. There's a kind of a standing segment within the segment, which was the things I love and hate about the car dealership industry, or car dealers in general, and I would every week go through a different thing that what I hate and love about the auction. I could tell you the things I loved walking in there, seeing all those dealers, all that liveliness, like it's just vibrant. Right? It's vibrant in there. And then things I hate about the industry, man, those gross polluters that they run down there, and I'm sitting there getting smogged out. I feel like I'm getting cancer. I'm getting cancer by the second here, and it's like, man, that was and I feel like I'm deaf when I walk out of that place. But other than that, there was so things I loved and hate about the industry. But definitely keep one in mind of an ongoing segment. And I think it'd be nice to have something from the mind of Teresa, your car dealer bond. Teresa De La Cruz has been with us now 8 years in the bond business now. Over 30 or so? I mean, how long has it been in the bond industry, surety bond industry?
Under wraps, Mike, under wraps.
A lot of years. So you guys out there, you guys are taking pearls of wisdom from some people who have definitely been there, done that. It's not this person we've got cutting content for us that we pay $50 a commercial for us or anything like that. Like, we could drag these people out into the deep waters and they'd have no idea what we're talking about. So anyway, another quick little a punch to the Your Car Dealer podcast. Keep on listening, telling a friend, and definitely anything we can do for you, Your Car Dealer Bond.
We're here to help you.
We're here. We're willing. We're able, and can't thank you enough for helping us spread the word. You guys take care out there. You guys have another good week, and we'll definitely keep the content moving. Yeah, flip them cars. You guys take care out there. All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.